Hello and welcome to Indus News live from Islamabad. I'm Hira Mustafa and these are the headlines. India has reported its highest daily cases yet again, as nearly 274,000 people tested positive overnight. Meanwhile, the country recorded more than 1,600 deaths in the past 24 hours. In Pakistan, over 5,100 people tested positive, while 73 died overnight, raising the death toll to 16,316. Globally, the virus has claimed over 3 million lives, while infecting over 141 million people. Russia has expelled 20 Czech diplomats in retaliation to a slew of diplomatic expulsions by Prague. In a statement, the Russian Foreign Ministry gave the envoys just over 24 hours to leave the country. Earlier, the Czech Republic accused 18 Russian diplomats of involvement in a 2014 ammunition depot blast. EU foreign ministers are set to meet virtually today to discuss the health of Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny. In a statement, the EU's foreign policy chief Joseph Borrell called on Moscow to grant Navalny immediate access to medical professionals. Earlier, the United States warned Russia of consequences if Navalny dies in prison from a hunger strike. ISIS has claimed responsibility for the attack on two wells at the Bay Hassan oil field in northern Iraq. In a statement, the Iraqi oil ministry said the attack did not cause a fire or affect production. Meanwhile, at least 5 rockets hit near an Iraqi airbase housing U.S. contractors north of Baghdad. Iraqi officials said there were no casualties reported after the incident. Well, these were the headlines. News in detail coming after the short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now, the news in detail. India has reported its highest daily cases yet again, as nearly 274,000 people tested positive overnight. Meanwhile, the country recorded more than 1,600 deaths in the past 24 hours. Globally, the virus has claimed over 3 million lives and infected 141 million people.
The third wave of COVID-19 is raging as the world continues to struggle with equitable vaccine distribution. Half of the adults in the United States have received at least one vaccine shot, while most of the developing world scampers to muster up resources. Just south of the United States, sanctions-hit Venezuela has just only queued itself for the vaccine as infections and deaths continue to rise.
I can announce that this week, starting April 19, Monday, the rest of the $120 million deposit into the COVAX system will be completed. Venezuela is now in line for vaccines. Resources have been obtained, resources that were freed up from the blockade.
In more disturbing news, a new Israeli study has found Pfizer's vaccine to be ineffective against the South African variant. While infections and fatalities continue to rise in France, Italy, and Germany, while Britain has seen a major drop in deaths. And in a rare moment of happiness, amid the pandemic anxiety, hundreds of passengers have thronged Australians' airports as an open border system began with New Zealand. The measure allows Australian residents to fly for the first time in over a year without having to quarantine for 2 weeks.
It means everything. It's mixed emotions. It's sad circumstances that she's here for the loss of their brother, but we're happy that we get this opportunity to spend time with family now, definitely. It's unfortunate for other families due to COVID and everything, but we're so lucky to have family now that can attend special things like this.
Hong Kong has banned flights from India for 2 weeks over the presence of the N501Y variant. Meanwhile, Japan's Osaka prefecture is planning to ask the government to declare a state of emergency.
Pakistan has recorded 73 more deaths from COVID-19 over the past 24 hours. The country's health ministry says the nationwide death toll has reached 16,316. The ministry said over 5,000 people tested positive for the virus overnight. Government data shows the overall caseload has crossed 761,000, of which nearly 663,000 people have recovered. Currently, there are more than 82,000 active cases in the country, while more than 4,500 patients are in a critical medical condition. Russia has expelled 20 Czech diplomats in retaliation to a slew of diplomatic expulsions by Prague. Earlier, the Czech Republic accused 18 Russian diplomats of involvement in a 2014 ammunition depot blast. In a statement, the Russian Foreign Ministry said Prague's accusations were absurd, as it had previously blamed the blast on the depot's owners. The ministry gave the envoys just over 24 hours to leave the country. It said Czech Ambassador Vladislav Pivonka was summoned to the Foreign Ministry to be informed of the Russian decision. The European Union foreign ministers will also discuss the Czech claims of Russian involvement in the blast today in a virtual meeting. EU foreign ministers are set to meet virtually today to discuss the deteriorating health of Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny. In a statement, the EU's foreign policy chief Joseph Borrell called on Moscow to grant Navalny immediate access to medical professionals. He said the EU considers Navalny's sentencing politically motivated and against international human rights obligations. Earlier, the United States warned Russia of consequences if Navalny dies in prison from a hunger strike. A group of doctors has warned that Navalny risks cardiac arrest any minute as his health deteriorates. Allies of the jailed Kremlin critic also announced a large street protest on Wednesday. ISIS has claimed responsibility for the attack on 2 wells at the Bay Hassan oil field in northern Iraq. In a statement, the Iraqi oil ministry said that the attack did not cause a fire or affect production. It also did not stop oil pumping from the well. Meanwhile, at least 5 rockets hit near an Iraqi airbase housing U.S. contractors north of Baghdad. Iraqi officials said there were no casualties reported after the incident. The United States says the terror threat has moved elsewhere from Afghanistan. In an interview, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken defended the U.S. decision of troop withdrawal from the war-torn country. Blinken said the U.S. has achieved the objectives in Afghanistan. He said Washington needed to focus resources on challenges such as China and the pandemic. The top diplomat added the U.S. will be able to see any move by Taliban in real time and take action. Meanwhile, White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said there are no guarantees about Kabul's future post-pullout. In an interview, Sullivan said the U.S. has no intention of resending its troops to Afghanistan. 5 people have been critically injured in a mass shooting at a liquor store in the U.S. state of Louisiana's Shreveport City. Authorities on the scene described the injuries life-threatening. However, it is not clear who was responsible for the shooting. Police say they're looking for a white Ford car and have deployed 11 units on the scene. Earlier, at least 3 people were killed in a shooting in Austin, the state capital of Texas. In a tweet, police warned the scene is still active and people are being asked to avoid the area. In a separate shooting, 3 people were killed and 2 others wounded in Wisconsin's Kenosha County. In Egypt, at least 11 people have died and 98 others injured after a passenger train derailed north of Cairo. The train was heading from Cairo to the Nile Delta city of Mansoura when 4 carriages derailed. In a statement, the health ministry said over 50 ambulances shifted the injured to the hospitals. It added that the cause of the accident is being investigated. Meanwhile, Egypt's transportation minister Kamal Al-Wazir has faced calls to resign on social media. In March, 2 trains collided in the Sohag governorate, killing 18 people and injuring at least 200 others. As Italy prepares to reopen amid the pandemic, hundreds of entertainment and hospitality industry workers in Rome pleaded with the government for a lifeline. The workers beat black trunks as a form of protest at Piazza del Popolo. They demanded a fund from the government to help them survive. This follows weeks of clashes between small business owners and police after businesses remained closed due to lockdown. Current restrictions are set to expire at the start of May, and no decision has been taken on how to replace them. Japan has offered South Korean experts to be part of the IAEA team overseeing the Fukushima water release. Earlier, Seoul expressed concerns over Tokyo's plan to release more than 1.2 million tons of contaminated water into the Pacific Ocean. Japanese ambassador to Seoul, Koichi Aiboshi, termed South Korea's participation possible. Talking to reporters, Aiboshi said the matter is to be discussed between the IAEA and the South Korean government. He said Tokyo will make various efforts to provide Seoul with information about the discharge. The envoy added Japan will work to ensure safety in the disposal process. Eruptions continue from the La Sofia volcano on the Caribbean island on St. Vincent. The United Nations says the situation could spiral into a humanitarian crisis. An alliance of Latin American countries has sent aid to the struggling St. Vincent and Grenadines government. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister of St. Vincent said he expects more donations. About 20,000 people have been evacuated from their homes since the eruptions began last week. In South Africa, a wildfire on the slopes of Table Mountain has forced University of Cape Town students to evacuate. Flames set several campus buildings ablaze and firefighters used helicopters to waterbomb the area. Officials said one firefighter sustained burn wounds and was hospitalized for treatment. The university is largely built on the slopes of Devil's Peak and is situated close to where the fire started. Some roads were closed as heavy smoke could be seen from kilometers away. The fire started early on Sunday near a memorial on Devil's Peak before spreading rapidly up the slopes. China is in the lead as the world seeks to extract a largely untapped fuel source beneath the ocean floor. The extracted methane hydrate has been nicknamed flammable ice. More in this report.
Buried deep in the ocean floors, the highly valuable ice crystals are scientifically named as methane hydrate. Researchers say there are enough reserves of these compounds to last for thousands of years, but it is extremely hard to extract them. China, however, made a huge breakthrough in 2017 by setting a world record for retrieving the highest amounts of this precious fossil fuel in a single attempt. Last year, it again stunned the world with a second successful attempt at harnessing the resource in the South China Sea.
Our platform was designed to operate in the North Sea, which has the roughest conditions in the world for offshore oil and gas production. So our specifications are among the best in the world. This enables us to continue operation in a typhoon, as long as the storm doesn't hit the platform head-on.
Experts say gas hydrates are cleaner than other fossil fuels like oil and coal. Production of methane from deep-sea deposits on a commercial scale could provide a vital transition energy source during the shift towards renewable energies. The cutting-edge technology required to access the ocean's depths will likely also benefit other parts of the marine economy.
So currently in China, coal provides 60% of their energy. These days, I think offshore drilling can provide much cheaper oil and natural gas and help China to gradually upgrade the structure of its energy and reduce the carbon emission.
Experts say China's efforts to develop its blue economy will help create a more sustainable future. The country aims to peak its emissions over the next decade and then rapidly decrease to reach carbon neutrality by 2060.
Now it's time to take a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Most Asian shares are trading higher following overnight gains. Global economic recovery and corporate earnings prospects bolstered sentiment despite rising COVID-19 infections. Stocks in mainland China outperformed everyone else, rising over 1%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index also added over 0.5%. Seoul's Kospi and Australia's ASX 200 have also edged up. However, the Nikkei 225 in Japan has slipped fractionally under the flat line. Shares in India have also lost as both the 50/50 and BSE Sensex dropped more than 2% each. Now it's time to have a look at the weather update across the globe. For the latest updates, you can follow us on social media at indus.news.